the a-hole for not letting my parents to be involved grandparents because they chose my sister's friend over me? I'm 25, female and pregnant with my first child, and only a few weeks ago, my estranged parents found out about my pregnancy from someone I know back in my hometown. They reached out, so excited to find out they were going to be grandparents and wanting to be involved. But I ignored them and continued ignoring them until 2 days ago, when I replied one time and made it clear they will never know my child or be in our lives, and that I wanted them to stop contacting me. This was all via email, by the way. Let me get into some background. I have an older sister, Sam, 28, and she had a best friend, Luna. Sam and Luna met in pre-K and became fast friends. Luna was over at our house all the time, and eventually she started saying really awful things to me and bullying me. She called me names, mocked me whenever I asked if I could spend time with her and Sam, threw stuff at me when she'd see me, and even made a game out of spitting at me and seeing how many times she could hit me. My parents knew, and they did nothing. But when I was 7, they sat me down and told me that Luna had a bad time at home, and she was mean, but she needed us, and I needed to understand. They said Luna was so important to Sam, and she would grow up into a better person if we didn't abandon her. She used to come along to extended family parties and dinners. I remember one time Mom's side was all meeting up, and because my parents didn't say Luna was coming, we were a chair short for a bit. Luna took the chair and then said there was no room for me at the table, just like there wasn't room for me anywhere, and that I should cry in a corner somewhere. Mom's family was horrified, and I started to cry. I was like 9 by then. My grandparents ended up leaving the table and getting one for just the 3 of us, and they spoiled me while refusing to pay for a single thing Luna consumed. They asked me what was going on too, and I told them everything. Afterward, my parents got so much flack from Mom's side of the family, and my mom's parents contacted my dad's parents, and they were shamed by both sides. When they'd had enough of that, my parents told Sam that Luna needed to come over less or she needed to be nicer. They sort of stuck to that for a while. My grandparents checked in on me weekly to see if my parents were letting that spoiled little madam into the house to abuse me, and I think that was the deterrent for my parents. But then when I was 12, my parents let Luna move in with us. They said her home situation was worse and she was going to apologize, and we were going to make sure she felt wanted and welcome with us. I got a sorry, I guess, from her, but I could hear her making fun of me to Sam whenever me or my parents weren't around. She'd laugh about how I looked betrayed when my parents told me she was moving in. She found it hilarious. I think you can see whose side Sam was always on. I lived like that for a little over a year before it got to be too much, and I told my grandparents Luna was living with us. They went ballistic on my parents, and after weeks or months of fighting about it, my grandparents insisted I was going to move in with them. My parents protested against it, but my grandparents said they couldn't be trusted to take care of me. My parents wouldn't kick out Luna for me. So yeah, I lived with my grandparents for the rest of that time, and I actually live in the same neighborhood as them with my partner now. I actually had 0 contact once I moved in with my grandparents. These emails were the first contact in more than a decade. My parents keep replying to that one email. I got like 4 within a few minutes about an hour after I sent it, and they're telling me I'm taking this too far, and that Luna isn't even in the picture anymore. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Well, the consequence train is right on time, isn't it? Yes, Sam took the kicking after you left. What is the saying? F around and find out? Your parents have, and you get to live a happy life without them. There is a sense of justice in OP being able to live a happy life, while the parents have to live with the consequences of their actions. Your child deserves a safe and loving environment. The way your parents dismissed your suffering shows they are not trustworthy when it comes to protecting a child's well-being. Even if Luna is no longer in the picture, their past actions prove that they put others before you, and there's no guarantee they wouldn't repeat that pattern. You're breaking the cycle and making sure your child grows up surrounded by people who genuinely care. That is a strong and admirable choice. They said Luna isn't even in the picture anymore. This is the part that rips my heart out. Luna isn't even around anymore, and they still didn't contact you? That's effed up. No contact forever. Guess they didn't want to admit they abandoned their daughter and peeved off both sides of the family for nothing. Unbelievable. True. They faced backlash from both sides of the family. They likely want to avoid further social condemnation. They tried giving my grandparents grief for involving my other grandparents too, but my grandparents dealt with that swiftly. I'm curious though, what happened to Luna and why isn't she in the picture anymore? Your parents had time to contact you before now. I have no idea what happened to her. I'm not even sure if they still talk to my sister or not. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not making the truth sound nicer in family therapy and standing by what I said? My mom died when I, 17 male, was 4. My dad sent me to live with his parents immediately after. He said he couldn't cope without mom and wanted me to have a stable life. I still saw him and stuff, but he wasn't raising me. That was left to my grandparents. They encouraged him to see me as much as he could, and he'd try to swing by at least once a week, but that didn't always happen. It was really awkward, and I remember being kind of sad about it for a year or more. Then it just became my new normal. When I was 8, my dad announced he was moving and wasn't sure when he'd come back. I didn't see him for more than 2 years, and when he moved back, he wanted me back. I was 10 by then. He was a stranger to me, so I didn't want to live with him, and my grandparents didn't want me to be taken back like that. Dad told them it was fine because he met someone and we'd all move in together in a few months. They said that was even more reason for me to stay, because I wouldn't adjust well to random people living with me. He said they weren't random. I was about to have a new mom and brother. They asked if he had a kid with someone, and he said no. His fiancée had a kid already, but he was going to raise him as his own. My dad started a court battle with my grandparents when his wife moved to town to live with him. They weren't married yet. Dad said he'd been patient, but didn't like that they were keeping me from him. I told him I didn't want to live with him, but he ignored me. After months of fighting in court and me talking to people from the court, my dad won. It took almost a year, and I was nearly 12. I was forced to live with him, his wife, her son, and their baby. My dad acted like I'd never lived apart from him, and his wife acted like she was my mom. She told me what to do, like play more sports, spend less time with friends she didn't like, and spend time with my brother. She expected me to help around the house and help her specifically. She said it was good for us to make up for lost time. I had to sit with her while she cooked, and she'd give me consequences if I had an attitude. Anytime I said she wasn't my mom, she gave me more consequences. I had stopped calling my dad Dad years before he took custody, and he tried to change that when I moved in. He told me I had a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister, and that using names instead of family titles was wrong. I told him they weren't really my family. He spent time trying to convince me otherwise and told me to be more open-minded. I never called him Dad again. I'm only using it here for clarity. And I never called his wife Mom or the kids my siblings. I never wanted to be part of their family, and it started to impact my grades. My grandparents used that and some other things to fight for custody again when I was 15. They were denied at first, but it became a bigger fight. I had to talk to a therapist, someone from the court system, a guardian ad litem, and another children's advocate, not the gal. After a lot of discussion about what was best for me, and me studying how to speak more maturely so a judge would actually listen, I was allowed to move back in with my grandparents. The judge also ordered me to attend family therapy with my dad until I turned 18. That was almost a year ago, when I was 16. I don't really take the therapy sessions seriously, and I take them even less seriously after my dad went back to court to get his wife included in the sessions, which the judge allowed. So now I have to see both of them once a week for an hour. I usually don't say anything in therapy. I don't like the therapist, and I already have my own, so I don't need them. But a few weeks ago, I did speak up because the therapist said everyone needed to be honest at least once, and I might as well say what was really on my mind. So I said I stopped wanting my dad back when I was about 6 or 7, and I never wanted to be part of his family again. I said he wasn't a good dad, and just because he tried, but only after his wife came into his life, didn't mean I was okay with it. I said calling some pushy stranger my mom and pretending I had a new brother was wrong because my real mom died. His wife wasn't going to take her place just because she wanted a perfect family image. I said they tore me away from the home and the people who raised me, just so they could play at being good people. I said a stranger dictated who I could and couldn't be friends with, and what hobbies I should have. I said I was punished for saying she wasn't my mom, when she wasn't. I said they kept bringing up their kids missing me and being hurt, but it was their fault, because my dad ignored me when I said I didn't want to live with them. I said I'd never want a relationship with their kids, because blood doesn't make us siblings, it just makes us related. Even the one raised by my dad isn't my sibling, just someone sorta related to me. The more they expect that to change, the more they hurt their kids. My dad didn't see it coming. His wife didn't look surprised, just offended that I basically said she was nothing but a stranger trying to play mommy. I got crap from them and the therapist for not being kinder with the truth. The therapist said I clearly know how to speak with maturity because of how I spoke in court, so I should have said it in a nicer way. After that, I stopped speaking again, but it keeps coming up. Am I the a-hole? They stole you from your family and then punished you for telling the truth. Maybe they're the ones that should have been nice, not the a-hole. My dad still argues they kept me from him too, even though he was the one who gave me to his parents to raise. He's the one who left town and didn't see me for 2 years. He made those choices, but he blames my grandparents instead of looking at how he messed up. I guess he married someone who blindly supported him and had the arrogance to think a 12-year-old would call some stranger mom. I do wonder if he sold himself to his wife, not as a deadbeat who left his child after his first wife died, but as the poor, sad widower who couldn't cope and trusted your grandparents to help, only to be cruelly kept from his child when he was finally ready to step up. Cue the court battles, the attempts to reunite, aka pretend none of it happened and that he's the best dad ever, trademark, and the nonsense in therapy. Your family therapist is a moron. There's no way to sugarcoat the truth, nor do you need to. Your dad is a selfish deadbeat. His wife is a short-sighted twit who thought she could step in and replace your mom, and their whole attempt to act like everything can be fixed with enough fake smiles is just insulting. You lost your dad when you lost your mom, and your grandparents have been your parents ever since. That's the truth. Your dad, his wife, and that awful therapist might not like it, but that doesn't make it any less real. If the therapist tries to get you to speak again, say this: I did speak. I told the truth about what happened and how I feel. My dad, his wife, and you all tried to guilt and shame me for it because I didn't pretty up the ugly truth. I'm not going to engage when none of you want to hear what I really have to say. I do have to ask though, how awkward are those sessions for you? Is it just the three of them talking at each other? The sessions are awkward. Mostly they're just boring. It's my dad or his wife bringing up everything they want to happen. My dad says my grandparents kept me from him when he was ready to take me back. He says they engaged in parental alienation because I don't call him dad. His wife cries about how I never gave her a chance and how all she wanted was for the kids in their home to feel like they were all their kids and that she shouldn't feel like she had less importance because I was just his. Then they talk about their kids and their feelings. A lot of it gets repeated. Honestly, pretty much all of it. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother I'm not taking care of our mom, so put her in a group home? My brother doesn't want to help anyone, but always turns around and asks for help. This is why some of our family members don't like him, and I agree with them. Our mom was on life support some years before she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, so we had to take care of her. Well, I was the only one who did. I won't lie and say I liked it. I was overwhelmed, especially since I had my own family to take care of. None of my siblings wanted to help out, so it was just me. I had to go to all her doctor appointments and pay for her medication. At the time, my husband and I were going through a serious financial crisis, so we couldn't afford to place mom in a group home or nursing home, since that costs money. But now we're back on track financially. This woman treated me like crap my whole life, but funny enough, I became the one to take care of her. Now that I'm no longer doing it, I feel like a huge weight has lifted. My siblings could pitch in, but they're not. The thing is, I won't be taking care of my mom anymore. For weeks, I've been looking at group homes for her, and I found a good one. I'm no longer going to be here because I'm moving to Samoa with my family, and we're staying there. She had to go to a home because my siblings don't want to take care of her or get her help. She's already in the home now and has to get used to her caregivers since I'm leaving in 2 days. I gave my brother a heads up about my plan. When I told him I was putting Mom in a home, he got mad. He asked how I could do that to her. He doesn't believe group homes or nursing homes are okay. He didn't think it was right, but he's doing nothing to help, so this is how it's going to be. I told him he can take care of her if he doesn't like it. He was extremely mad. He went off about how he has kids and can't take care of her. I have kids too. I just let him say whatever he wanted. I told him plainly I'm not taking care of her anymore. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. If they don't like it, tough. Either they step up or they can whinge to empty air. Not the a-hole. I went through something very similar. Caregiver burnout is real. It's funny how the relatives who don't do anything to help tend to have the loudest opinions, but they would never lift a finger to help out themselves. Don't let any of them make you feel guilty for what they never even did themselves. Exactly. They're quick to judge, but nowhere to be found when help is needed. Hope he did more than enough. Time for the rest of the family to step up or stay quiet. Our family did the same thing, just in reverse. My father, who lived alone, had a stroke. As I was making the 6-hour drive to the hospital, there was my brother on the phone demanding that I put our father in a care home. My dad was wealthy, a good and decent soul, who had given millions to my brother to start a business. I told my brother that if he wanted to move Dad across the country and manage his care, I couldn't stop him since he had power of attorney, but I wouldn't lift a finger to help make that happen. My dad, under my care, regained independent living, changed his POA, and eventually died in his own home. The moral is the same. Both of our brothers wanted what was best for them while expecting others to make it happen. Enjoy your new life.